I think this video has been a long time coming, but I'm finally ready to explain why I'm cancelling my FairyLoot subscription. Hi everyone, I'm Lauren and welcome back to my channel. This is Light and Lavender, where we talk about all things books and my own writing journey. And I want to go over why I'm cancelling my adult FairyLoot subscription. When the adult FairyLoot box was announced last year, I was really excited. I really wanted to take part of it because I'd been hoping for some sort of more high epic fantasy books and like themes to come through in the YA FairyLoot subscription box, which is why I really enjoyed Shielded when I got that, when it was like one of the first books, and I thought that's what I was getting. And yeah, pretty much the adult box has been a bit of a huge disappointment, and I think that might even be understating it. The first book that we received was the Atlas 6, and I'd seen loads of people talking about it all over the place before it was picked up to be traditionally published, so I was really excited that this was going to be one of the books that I'd be picking up. But I think it was this design and this idea that kind of made me think that they weren't really putting as much effort into the adult book box subscription as they had been doing with the YA book box subscription. One of my biggest issues with this box has actually been the fact that so many of these books are debut adult books by originally YA authors. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's showing that people are branching out and trying things, but I think it exemplified the idea that they were focusing so much on crossover books. So in the YA box, we've been getting loads of crossover books that could work as like YA to adult, and then this way around adult to YA. And I feel like the box that I was subscribed to was meant to be focusing on the adult books, and it was meant to be giving like that new fresh perspective instead of trying to please everybody. And I think that's where I felt most disappointed by this entire thing. It's just they're trying to please everyone, so they've pleased less than everyone. I don't know, I've seen so many people as well being annoyed by this box, so I know it's not just me, but I know that the way that they've done it is just, I think what I'm trying to explain is that I'm just really baffled by the choices that they've been making. They've not kind of set on that adult theme, they've not really delved into it. They've said it was an adult fantasy box, and then we got a dystopian box in October, and the reasoning that dystopia is fantasy is just pathetic to me, because dystopia as and always will be science fiction, because it's usually some sort of like catastrophic event that's caused it. Same as apocalyptic. If they chucked an apocalyptic book in there, I would be absolutely furious, because it's just not fantasy. Yeah, everything's fantasy to some extent. Science fiction is fantasy. Contemporary is fantasy. Historical fiction is fantasy, because you've made it all up, which, to be honest, is the basic gist of fantasy. But to say that dystopia is fantasy is just ludicrous beyond belief, and I'm just not impressed with the choices that they've made and the way they've tried to shoehorn things in. They've tried to go for big names rather than trying to think of what actually fits in the box, and for £25-ish, I'm just not really happy with it. Another reason that I'm not happy with this book box can be surmised in one simple demonstration. Can you see a recurring theme with these? Like, it's not just the spines. There's been barely any sort of, what is the word? There's been no thought into how to make these all original, I think, is where I'm going. Everything, I think it was like the first 3 or 4 months, I'm pretty sure these 3 were the first 3 books. And look, they look great. The black sprayed edges, the first time I saw them was like, oh, a black sprayed edge, looks really good. But then it's like, cover change from light to dark, cover change from dark to light. I'm not entirely sure what the original cover of that was, but again, it's that sort of like monochrome view. I'm not happy. I think my biggest bugbear was that because it's an adult box, they've tried to like remove any semblance of colour from it. And personally, I think that what FairyLoot did really well, and their YA books do really well, is the fact that they use so much colour and that they go for that effect. There was actually one book, thinking about it, I think it was July's book, which was really colourful, and actually the end papers in that I thought would have fit better for a YA book because it was too cartoony. So obviously there is some sort of like give and take with this, but it just seemed lazy that the briefs they were giving out were all this like, make it all dark, don't put any sort of brightness or colour into it, and I just think it annoyed me. Now, that's not to say that I think it's the artists who are at fault here. I think it is definitely the brief that FairyLoot has given these artists. I think the work that they have done has been amazing. The artists themselves and the designers have done a really great job. And I think that the books themselves look great, but when you put them all together as this is from a subscription box, I don't know if they were trying to go for a cohesive feel to it, which they kind of do get that sort of vibe. Like you can see it's the FairyLoot subscriptions, but at the same time, I'm not impressed with it, to be honest. Overall, I think that this box could have been done a lot better, and I feel like by me giving up the subscription, it will hopefully be going to someone who will appreciate it and enjoy the books that are being put out there. There've been a couple that I'm excited for, so Atlas 6 was a really big one. I was really excited to get Babel. I actually really love the design on that, and although it's not a completely black sprayed edge, I think it's the monochrome feel to it that bugged me more than anything. November's book was also great, but I'm just not seeing the point in spending £25 a box for something that I could get for half price if I just went to Amazon or Waterstones and just bought. I think if I bought an exclusive Waterstones edition, I would still be saving money. So I could have saved myself like 200 quid by buying the books that I actually want to read and I will appreciate, rather than what I'm being given. So I am going to try and read them before I get rid of them, but there's some books that I am really not excited for, so you'll potentially see these in a unhaul at some point, but I just feel like this spot on the subscription list should go to someone who's going to appreciate it, rather than someone who is just going to open the box and just not be bothered every single month. I'm pretty sure there's probably more nuanced videos out there about the adult subscription box, because like I said, I have seen a few people not overly impressed with this. Hopefully it's not just my sort of like rambled, garbled mess that you are looking for when you're trying to see reasons why people are giving up the subscription, but I hope that it helps you make a decision. Maybe you really love the idea and the design and the cohesive feel of all the dark and monochrome, but it's really not for me. I'm a much more colourful, bright person, so I'm just gonna have to get rid of it. And if you do receive this subscription box, let me know what you think to it down below in the comments. I'd love to see your reasons for why you like it or why you dislike it. It'd be nice to know if it's just like I've got myself stuck in a mentality, but it will be gone by the end of this month. I'm going to be cancelling it at some point in the next week just to make sure that it definitely doesn't go through for January. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, and if you want to see more of my videos, don't forget to hit subscribe. There's a new one out every single week. I hope you're all well and you're all staying safe, and until next time, bye!